guys, this is Greg. I am a home building designer, and I'm here with my friend Scott Senner. And we just want to talk a little bit today about building a pole barn home, or maybe even a metal building home, because it's a growing trend now. People are finding it's less expensive to do that type home.
Absolutely.
So we just
a lot more common.
Yes. We just want to talk a little bit about that. And so, but the biggest thing that we have found is that sometimes it's hard to get lending on something like that. And so this is why my friend Scott here, he's going to talk to you today a little bit about the loan process. So anyway,
it's been interesting because we sort of accidentally got into the metal home construction financing by accident a couple of years ago, and the perception in the marketplace is that metal homes and things that are sort of out of the ordinary have always been impossible to get financed, which has sort of hindered the development of that market.
Okay.
Which is, as it's turned out, it's really not the case. I mean, on our end, we've got underwriting and processing processes in place that will get these taken care of easily. Our appraisals have been coming in great, and so the process though is has to be done a certain way from start to finish to make sure that someone doesn't get themselves accidentally into trouble building a home that's not going to fit conforming standards.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing. And
what's the first step then?
Yeah. Well, the first step really for someone that if they're building on their own land, or if they have a parcel of land picked out, they need to get with someone like yourself who can design something that is going to fit both what they want as well as fit the needs of the lender at the end of the day. You're going to want to build something that can obviously fit your needs, but also fit the lender's needs on having a loan that we can sell. Okay.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, some people come to me and say, well, had a realtor contact me and said, well, my customer doesn't have land. Do you have any ideas about land? So can you talk a little bit about land, no land? So either you own a piece of ground or you need to get the whole package. So how do you do that?
So good example, let's say that someone has a parcel of land that's been in their family for a long time. They've got 40 acres out in western Oklahoma.
Okay.
So there's a couple things in play there. More than likely the land's paid for, but even if it's not, that land can be part of a construction loan process where the land that you own is really the down payment on the loan itself.
Okay.
So most people that are going to be building a home on land they already own are generally not going to need to come up with much, if any, money out of their pocket at the beginning of the day because they already have their down payment in their land.
Okay. Well, that's a good idea.
So does that make sense? So someone building a $200,000 home, if they have land that already is worth $50,000 or $60,000, well, they've already got a quarter of the investment in it.
Right.
They already own it. So
what about our friend Wade from Advantage Bank had talked about he handles a lot of construction loans for these sort of things. And one thing that he mentioned was dealing with large parcels of land. So like you said, going back to the family farm, the ranch, that's great. You got, a full section of land, 600 and something acres or whatever, but how do you realistically parse that down?
Good point. Because when someone is trying to build a home on a large piece of land, say they've got 600 acres out there. Well, on a lending side, we can do a loan for something like that, but finding comparable sales once your home is finished is very, very, very difficult.
Right.
So
your comps become a problem.
Absolutely. So the easiest way to accomplish what everybody wants to do is section off, 5 or 10 acres of your parcel of land that you're going to actually put the house on.
Right.
That way, when we come back in at the end of the day to do the appraisal, now we're trying to find comparable sales for a home sitting on 5 acres or 10 acres as opposed to 600, which is nearly impossible. Yeah. Lots of homes are on 5 acres. Right. Not many are on 600.
Right.
So that process is not terribly difficult. Someone will get with a local title company, and that's something that we can help them get arranged.
Right.
The cost is minimal. I mean, there's going to be a survey involved, so you got a few $100s invested there. Okay. But that whole process shouldn't cost more than $500 or $600, I wouldn't think, to get that your 5 acres or 10 acres sectioned off to put the house on.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. So what we have is you hired me. That's awesome. To do your plans. We've created a plan, a home plan, a full set of building plans. So now you need to reach out to a builder that has done a lot of these type buildings and understands the process. And so you get a cost from him or an estimate, build estimate. You've talked to Scott here, and you're pre-approved for your loan. So where do we go from there? We have the plans. We have an estimate from a builder. We're pre-qualified on our permanent mortgage. Where do we go from there?
So from there, we're going to put you in touch with a construction lender who we work with. Guy's name is Wade Moore with Advantage Bank in Midwest City. And that's another piece of the metal home construction process that's always been a little problematic for people, is there are not very many banks in town or out of town for that matter that are willing to do construction loans on metal homes. Advantage Bank is one of the banks that is excellent in this space, and we love working with them. So once we have your pre-approval completed, then the construction lender is going to know for sure that the house you want to build is going to meet conforming guidelines, that you're personally financially capable of qualifying for permanent financing. Now the bank, Wade will be able to do a construction loan. Typically 85% of the project cost.
The whole cost,
right?
Yeah.
So going back to the scenario where you already own your land, let's say you're going to be building a home and the cost of the home is $150,000. And your land is worth $50,000, so the project cost is $200,000.
Okay.
Well, you've already got your down payment because you already own your land. So Wade's going to finance the entire project with really no more money out of your pocket, and we're going to be able to come in at the end of the process and finance up to 95% of the finished value of their home. So really, in a perfect world, you may not need much money, if any, to get this whole thing going. If you own your land, even if you don't own your land, and now you buy a piece of land, it can be rolled into the construction cost, and then you're generally looking at anywhere from 15 to 20% investment up front to get that process started. So it's not terribly difficult. It's just got to have the right pieces in place.
Okay, well that makes sense. Now, Scott here is an Air Force veteran.
Yeah.
I'm a Navy veteran. What about veterans? VA? Will VA loan?
That's actually a good point. I mean, and yes, we have done VA loans on metal homes.
Okay. Okay.
And there's
so FHA and VA are an option.
And conventional.
And conventional.
And USDA for that.
Okay. Well, so it sounds like there's a fair amount of options for most customers. Huh?
There is, and USDA is actually a very viable option for houses that are out in the country a little bit, which is where a lot of people are building these.
Wow. USDA. I never would have thought the USDA would be involved in lending.
The only catch to a USDA loan, and not to get too deep in the woods here, but USDA has some income restrictions and some area restrictions on what people can qualify for.
Okay.
So that's something that you'll definitely want to get with me on getting down into the weeds on what actually is eligible and what's not. But in theory, you can do a USDA loan on a metal home.
Okay, we'll see. That's a new one on me. You learn something every day.
There you go. So.
Okay, well that's awesome. So, so you have your plans. You've talked to Scott. You got your permanent mortgage. You're pre-qualified there. You got your construction loan. Well, I know this little bit. I do know is that because I was a builder and a contractor for many years, commercial and residential, is that once your construction loan is in place, they usually set up a bank account for you, and then you'll just pay interest on what you draw out, correct? So
as you go along.
Yeah, as you go along. So you've built the structure, you've poured the foundation. Maybe that's 30% or 25% of the loan. Then you only make interest payments on that amount you pulled out, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's kind of ongoing process, and then there's a closing at the end, right?
There's a closing at the end on when your home is finished. And so all the inspections have been done.
Do you have to do another appraisal when it's finished?
We will typically be doing another appraisal on our end. because our loan is going to be based on the finished value.
The finished product, yeah, right.
Because in a lot of cases, the finished value actually comes in higher than what the construction appraisal came in, because that was based simply on the plans.
Right.
The finished value can come in higher because the market may have gone up, or just simply you built a pretty awesome house.
Well, yeah, and then the fact is that, once they got into it, maybe the customer kicked in more money, and they put granite countertops in instead of cheaper stuff. Just
you mean people make changes during construction?
Right. Absolutely. Lots of them.
Yeah, lots of them. Right.
FYI, if you're working with a builder, I love builders. I am one, was one. You want to try to minimize change orders. That will kill you. So try to be as decisive as possible on the front side. I understand colors and stuff, but try not to make any major changes to the structure or anything as you're going along. That's really going to hurt you.
But the next person that doesn't make a change on a building process will be the first one. So right.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for sitting with us today. This is Scott with
Interlinc Mortgage.
Interlinc Mortgage, Edmond, Oklahoma. Now, how far out can you work?
Statewide.
Statewide. Wow.
So that's a long ways.
You're almost worldwide, but not quite.
Right, exactly. Haven't done anything in Guyman yet, but we do a lot of stuff in Broken Bow, so we've gone the whole full gamut. So.
And as far as your location, as far as a construction loan, you just have to get with Wade at Advantage Bank, and they can kind of tell you where they are as far as your geographic location, if they can help you or not. But Scott with on the mortgage side can help you statewide in Oklahoma, and then I can help you pretty much anywhere. We can work by internet, back and forth, text, email. It's the wonders of technology today. So thank you very much for sitting with us.
All right.